one teacher asks a question: is there parameter passing methods, passing by value and passing by reference? People who use other languages like Pascal, C, C++, and Java often confused by the process of passing arguments in Python. Let's see how we apply this in Pascal. Right, this is a Pascal program called by value. That's the program name. Globally define a variable x as integer and define the procedure double with parameter x passing. What happens inside the procedure? It will double the value of x. Whatever value we pass into the procedure double will double the value. And I have put a write statement to print the value of x inside the procedure. Now within the main program, starting with the begin, we assign the value 50 to the x. Then call the procedure double and pass the value 50 into x. Then we write in the main program what's the value of x. This is outside the subprogram. We pass the value 15 to the procedure double x and print the value. Let's see the output of this program. Now this is the output. Value of x inside the subprogram is 100, but the value of x outside the subprogram is in 50. Right? In other words, when we pass the value 15 to the procedure double x, within the procedure, it double the value x into 100. What the value of x is 100 inside the procedure, but outside the procedure, still the value is 50. That's why the output that is why output has two different values. Let's do a simple change into the program. I'm changing to var as a variable parameter. And let's see. Now you can see both values are 100. In other words, the value passed into the variable x, it acts as a variable, and whatever changes inside the procedure will affect the value of x outside the program. Now this is the way of passing parameter as a reference, or we call variable parameters, or pass by reference. Now the previous one, that is without var, is passing by value. That's the difference. It's very clearly defined in Pascal. The passing by value method of passing arguments to a function copies the actual value of an argument into the formal parameter of the function. In this case, change made to the parameter inside the function have no effect on the argument. In other words, the code within the function cannot alter the arguments used to call the function. Define the variable name. It's Python. Now define the function ABC with parameter name. Name becomes Pascal. This is inside the function. Now print a value of name inside the function. This is the main program. Call the function ABC with parameter name, print outside function name. Now we have a function called ABC. We define the variable name inside the function as Pascal, but outside the function name is Python. Let's run this one. Once we run the program, we get inside the function value is Pascal, but outside the function value is Python. Now see what is passing by reference. The passing by reference method of passing arguments to a function copies the address of an argument into the formal parameter. Inside the function, the address is used to access the actual argument used in call. It means the changes made to the parameter affect the passed argument. That's a passing by reference. Now I am doing a different example. I am define name, then define the function ABC. Here I use append command. Yeah, that is the function. Then main program, call the function ABC with the name, then print outside function the name. Last time we just took the character string. Now this time, we use a list to the name with 3 items, and within the function we give the append command to add the new item to the list. Now I am running this program. Now this is the output. Inside the function and outside the function, both are the same, but we use the same technique. Only difference is previous program we use a string. Here we use a list, and all other things are the same, but we got the different answers. In the previous one, we can see in previous one we got 2 different values, but this one we got the same value. In other words, it is depend on the variable type we are using. Now the reason is character strings are immutable thing. We cannot change character strings, but lists are mutable. We can add, pen, delete, we can do whatever things to the list. But characters are immutable. We cannot change character. Therefore, we can say Python's argument passing is neither passed by value nor passed by reference. Passed by value is incorrect, passed by reference is incorrect. But we can say it is passed by object reference. Depend on the object we are passing. This is the okay, thank you. Data structures. We have lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. List is a sequence of mutable values. Tuple is a sequence of immutable values. Set is a collection of unique values. Dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. I have a list. I can add something to the end of the list, delete something from the list, modify the value inside the list. Tuples, on the other hand, sequence of immutable values. To add a new value to a tuple, you have to create a new tuple in order to do that. Sets, collections of unique values, where in list and tuple, keeps things in a particular order. A set does not keep anything in particular order. Advantage of a set is make your program more efficient, as no duplicates, does not care about the order. List. I am going to create a list of names. Names. Start with the square bracket. Type a name within double quotation mark. We have a list of 3 names: Adhikaram, Kovul, Carlo, and Martin. I can display that list typing names. I can also print out just the first of them. Names within bracket, the index. Starting index is 0. How to access list items? List items are ordered, changeable, and allow duplicate values. List items are indexed. The first item has index 0. The second has index 1, etc. When we say that lists are ordered, it means that the items have a defined order, and that order will not change. If you add new items to a list, the new item will be placed at the end of the list. There are some list methods that will change the order, but in general, the order of the items will not change. Mutable. List is mutable, meaning that we can change, add, and remove items in the list after it has been created. Allow duplicates. Since lists are indexed, lists can have items with the same value. Access list items. List items are indexed and you can access them by referring to the index number. To get the first name of the list, we all type names with the index 0. We have negative indexing like this one. Names -1, negative indexing start from the end. Range of indexes. You can specify a range of indexes by specifying where to start and where to end the range. When specifying a range, the return value will be a new list with the specified items. For example, names 1:2 is a range. Only white item. Index running from 1 to 1. Say names 1, 3 gives name, index number 1 and index number 2. Not the first item. 1 to 3 means 1 is the index. By leaving out the start value, the range will start at the first item. By leaving out the end value, the range will go on to the end of the list. If a specified item is present in the list, use the in keyword. Follow in names. So check this one. Kumar Tunga in names. False. Because that name is not in the list. Change list items. To change the value of a specific item, refer to the index number. Names 1 equal Kumar Tunga. Let's see the values in list. Here we have Adhikaram, Kumar Tunga, Carlo, and Martin. Change the second item or index number 1. Previously it was Adhikaram, Kovul, Carlo, and Martin. Now it has been changed to Adhikaram, Kumaratunga, Carlo, and Martin. Add list items. To add an item to the end of the list, use the append command. Names.append Kovul. Let's see the values. Adhikaram, Kumaratunga, Carlo, Martin, Kovul. Insert in list items. What's the difference between append and insert? To insert the list item at the specified index, we can use the insert method. If you want to add something to the specified index, we have to use the insert method. Names insert at index 1, Amaradeva. Now we inserted Amaradeva at index 1. Extend list. To append elements from another list to the current list, we can use extend method. Create a new list all actors with two names, Joe and Swarna. Names dot extend actors. See what happened. Now our list name has been extended to a new list. Now names have all the items in the names plus actors. The remove method removes the specified item. Names remove Kumaratunga. Names, it gives the previous list without Kumaratunga. Now we remove the specified item. How do we remove specified index? We can use the pop method. Names pop, say 1, it pops out item number with index 1. Now our list it removes name Amarthadewa. If you do not specify the index, the pop method removes the last item. Names pop. We can use delete keyword to remove the specified index. Delete, then we have to specify the names, say 3 new list. It removes the 0, 1, 2, 3 call from the list. How to clear the list? Clearing the entire list. Names clear. When you type names, say empty list, no values inside. You can loop through the list items by using a for loop. Say if you want to print all items in the list one by one, I create the same list again. Names with items Adhikaram, Kaur, Alo and Martin. Then issue the command for X in names, print X. It displays line by line Adhikaram, Kaur, Alo and Martin. List comprehension offers a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. Say if I want a new list containing only the names with the letter A in the name. Instead of writing a complete for loop with a couple of lines, we can use this one. New list equal X for X in names if letter A in X. Also new list, only 3 names there because the word Carlo doesn't have a letter A. Using this method, we can create the list very easily. For example, list of numbers from 1 to 10. X4, X in range 10. We'll get the list of numbers from 0 to 10 in numbers, starting with 0. Okay, this is all about the list. Tuples. In Python, tuples are like lists, non-changeable lists. Syntax is pretty much the same as the list, except that we use parentheses. This is a tuple with 3 items. They are numbered 0, 1 and 2. We can print the tuple length with 3 items. Python, Pascal and C. Python is the first item, Pascal is the second item, C is the second item. But the index is running from 0 to 2. Index of the Python is 0. Index of the Pascal is 1. Index of the C is 2. There's another tuple with 3 numbers 10, 90 and 30. Print in the tuple X 10, 90 and 30. We can pass them in as sequences. Max of X 90. Maximum of the tuple is 90. Then we can loop through them. For I in X, print I. We have three elements 10, 90 and 30 displayed line by line. Tuples are very much like lists, but also some differences. Tuples are immutable. Unlike a list, once you create a tuple, you cannot alter its contents, similar to strings. If you look at a string, for example, we have a 5-character string A, E, I, O, U. Once change the second character, vowels 1 equal to capital F. It complains, no, I can't do that, but can do in a list. So we have a list 876 and we say A1 equal 5, which is the second item. Then the second item has been changed to 5. This is mutable. Let's have a string variable name assigned Silva. Now we are going to change the first item. Name 0 equal to Z. It's give error message. In other words, strings are immutable. Once created, we cannot change. Tuples are also like strings. But in other words, tuples are like lists in terms of what they can store. But what they can do is like strings, cannot change. So, when we create t items of tuples and change the second item, and it says you cannot do that. This is not mutable. Once you put the things in, you cannot change it. There are some other things you cannot do with tuples. So here is a tuple. X is a tuple with 4 numbers. 4, 3, 1, 10. Let's try to sort it. You can't sort it. If you sort it, it will change. You can't add to it. Cannot append the value 20. None of these are allowed in tuples. You can read the documentation to see what we can do with tuples. Also use built-in dir function. So where we make a list and issue the dir command. Ignore the words starting with the underscore. Then we have append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse and sort. We can do all of these commands with the list. We have a tuple t and give the dir command. There you can see only count and index. In other words, what can we do with tuple? Only count and index. So everything you can do with tuples and do with lists. Then, so why we waste our time introducing tuples? Tuples are more efficient. Since Python does not have to build tuple structures to be modifiable, they are simpler and more efficient in terms of memory use and performance than lists. So in our program, where we are making temporary variables, we prefer tuples over lists. Tuples and assignments. We can also put a tuple on the left hand side of an assignment statement. We can even omit the parentheses. Here we assign 10 to the x variable and Colombo to the variable y. X is 10, y is Colombo. We can even omit the parentheses. important thing is we cannot have constants on the left hand side. Tuples are comparable. Comparison operators work with tuples and other sequences. If the first item is equal, Python goes on to the next element and so on until it finds elements that differ. On our left hand side, we have a tuple with 3 elements 1, 2 and 3. On the right hand side, we have a tuple with 3 elements 4, 5, 6. Now we are comparing tuple 1 or tuple on the left hand side and the tuple on the right hand side. It says true. Take the first elements of each tuple 1 and 4. 1 is less than 4. Then we don't need to go further, and this is true. Let's compare tuple 1, 2, 3 and 1, 1, 2. Gives false because the first elements are equal. Then check the second elements 2 and 1. 2 is greater than 1. Then the statement is false. Then compare these two tuples. On our left hand side, we have a tuple with 2 items, Python and Pascal. On our right hand side, we have Python and C. You can see first elements are equal. Then Python will compare the second elements, Pascal and C. Letter P comes after letter C. Then the entire statement is false. Now we have another 2 tuples. One is Python and C on your left side. On our right hand side, Java and Pascal. Compare that. Gives true. Now letter P comes after letter J. In other words, P is greater than J and the entire statement is true. You can use these operators. Less than or equal, greater than or equal, equal, not equal. Python dictionaries. Dictionary is a collection. What is a collection? Collection is nice because we can put more than one value in them and carry them all around in one convenient package. We have a bunch of values in a single variable. We do this by having more than one place in the variable. We have ways of finding the different places in the variable. What is not a collection? Most of our variables have one value in them. When we put a new value in the variable, the old value is overwritten. Look at this code. X equals 10, then x equals 20. The problem is, where did this 10 goes? The basic operations of the assignment statement is replacement. But dictionary allows us to put more than one thing. Now see a difference between a list and a dictionary. List is a linear collection of values that stay in order. Dictionary a bag of values, each with its own label. Dictionaries are Python's most powerful data collection. Dictionaries allow us to do fast database-like operations in Python. Dictionaries have different names in different languages. In Perl, PHP, they call associative arrays. In Java, called properties, map or hash map. In C# and .NET, called property bags. The same concept with different names. Lists index their entries based on the position in the list. Dictionaries are like bags, no order. So we index the things we put in the dictionary with a lookup tag. Make a dictionary called bag and store some items in bag. Put some cash, 5,000 rupees into the bag. Put 2 bottles of sanitizers into the bag and 3 packets of tissues into the bag. Now what's in bag? We can say it's a cash 5,000, sanitizer 2, tissues 3. Now bag cash equal 5,000 is an assignment statement. Actually I am using a string as a place. Say 0th position is 5,000, first position is 2, second position is tissues. Instead of 0, 1, 2, I am using character strings, cash, sanitizer and tissues. Now we have key value pairs. Key is cash, value is 5,000. Key is sanitizer, value is 2. Key is tissues, value is 3. Now I can look things up by key. I can add more cash into the bag. I add additional 3,000 rupees into the bag. Now I have 8,000 rupees in cash. To get a clear idea, I can explain in this way. I have a bag. I am putting 500 cash into the bag, then 2 sanitizers, then 10 tissues. Right? Now I can easily carry out everything. I am handling one single bag. Bag contains all these things. Comparing lists and dictionaries. Dictionaries are like lists, except that they use keys instead of numbers to look up values. Try to understand the diagrams in Python. Let's implement this list and dictionary in Python. Create the list called lst and add an item called Prabhat and add another item 64. Now our list have 2 items. Sorry, not the list. LST, Prabhat and 64. Now first item of the list is Prabhat. The second one is 64. In other words, first item is with the index 0. List is Prabhat. LST1 is 64. Now we have a list with 2 items. We can search the Prabhat through 0. Now create the dictionary. Create the dictionary called DIC and add key value pair, another key value pair. Right here we have two key value pairs. Name, Prabhat, age 64. Two pairs. If I want to change the value 64 into 65, I can do in this way. I can assign dictionary age equal 65. Now we in previously created list, key is 0 and 1. Here in the dictionary, key is name and age. Dictionary literals use curly braces and have a list of key value pairs. You can make an empty dictionary using empty curly braces. To understand the dictionaries properly, I am going to give you another example. I am going to show you a series of names and I want you to figure out what is the most common name and how many times each name appears. Let's start. I think I will show you around 13 names and come up with a way to keep track. Can someone say what's the most common name? Okay, I will give you all the names in a single screen. Did you get it? How did you solve the problem? I can do in this way. I can note down Deetra 1, 2, 3, 3 like that. If we have thousands of names, you can't do in this way. What's the proper way? Data structures you build solve the problem. What is the effective way? This is the most common technique to solve this problem. If you see a new name, you add them to the list. Then you give a 1. Here how we implement is in Python. When we encounter a new name, we need to add the new entry in the dictionary. And if this is the second, a later time we have seen the name, we simply add 1 to the count in the dictionary under that name. Create a dictionary call. Then we create a list called names with all these names. Now we run through the names starting from the first one and second one and third one and so on. If the name in names, because we have to check the type name is within that list. Then if name not in C, now C is a newly created dictionary. In other words, whenever we found a new name, we create the entry C name equal 1. Otherwise means if we found that name earlier, then we increase the value by 1. C name equal C name plus 1. Then we print a dictionary. This is our output of the program. We have Deetra 3 times, Yukavi have have 5 times, dsong 2 times, rwin 3 times. I will show you the code again. We can reconstruct that look a lot easier. We can use get command and provide the default value 0 when the key is not yet in the dictionary, and then just add 1. This pattern of checking to see if a key is already in the dictionary and assuming default value if the key is not there is so common that there is a method called getC that does this for you. Simplified counting with get, definite loops and dictionaries. Even though dictionaries are not stored in order, we can write a for loop that goes through all the entries in the dictionary. Actually, it goes through all the keys in the dictionary and look up the values. Now we create a dictionary with 3 items. Write a for loop going from the dictionary, print I and xi. This is the output of the program. It will display the entire dictionary items line by line, retrieving lists of keys and values. You can get a list of keys, values or items. Item means both from dictionary. Now we have our original dictionary with 3 items. Now I am issuing the list command to the dictionary. List of X. X is a dictionary. It gives the keys of the dictionary, not the values, without values. Right? Now the output is a list. We generate a list containing keys of the dictionary. Remember, output is a list now. We can get the same result using this command. List X is a dictionary, display the keys of the dictionary. Same result. If you need to get the values, we have to use x.values. This time it will create a list with values of the dictionary 10, 20, 30. X.items means both key and the value. Now this is not the dictionary, it's a list. The list containing 3 items, 3 pairs. Right? If it's a dictionary, it should start with the curly brackets. Now this is a list. In other words, this is a list of tuples. There are 3 tuples in this list. Now we can use 2 iteration variables called ing. We loop through the key value pairs in a dictionary using 2 iteration variables. Each iteration, the first variable is the key and the second variable is the corresponding value for the key. For I, j, here we use 2 variables I and j. For I, j in X items, item means both key and value. Then the print ij. Right, you get 3 different sets. Each time it's printed I and j. In the first one, I is Cyril, j is 10. Second line, I is Felix, j is 20. On third one, I is Jagat, j is 30. Okay, hope you learn the dictionary better. Hope you learn how dictionaries work in Python.